Hi, welcome back guys, after the long time here. This is your friend the Momo Fanfics back with the amazing fanfiction. This is series a What If Dark Deku Destroying the World. Izuku Midoriya was a normal child. Well, normal as that he had nothing special about him like the rest of his class. He was quirkless, which in the society he lived in is seen as not normal. He was sitting in his middle school waiting for school to end so he could leave the people who would bully him about his quirklessness. If only I had a quirk, wishes Izuku as he thinks back on his life while his ex-friend Katsuki Bakugo pushes him into a wall. He was angry as usual and really showing it today for some reason. This confused Izuku as normally Bakugo would not be so bad. If you want a quirk so bad, try taking a swan dive off the roof and maybe in your next life you might get one. You useless Deku. After yelling and Izuku, Katsuki does his worst on the workbook Izuku was working on and uses his quirk to blow it up and throws it into a nearby fountain. Maybe that would be a good idea, thinks Midoriya as he walks to retrieve his book from the fountain. As Izuku gets his book, dark storm clouds form and it starts to rain. Now it's raining great. Izuku starts to make his way home when lightning starts up. As Izuku keeps walking, he hears the sound of thunder. From the way my life is, I would not be surprised if. Izuku can't finish his thought as he is struck by lightning. Well, that was an unexpected accident. I am so sorry, my boy, would you like some tea? Asked the strange bearded man in front of Izuku. The man was preparing some tea from a pot and poured 2 cups of it and passed one to Izuku. I am sorry, I was just walking home when I appeared here. Sorry, but I have to go, answers Izuku to the stranger. As he got up to leave, the man spoke. I am sorry, Izuku, but that won't be possible as I accidentally stuck you when I was playing around with some lightning. It has happened before and as an apology I sent the boy to another world with some gifts. So now what do you want as a gift? Asked the strang man. Izuku thought that he looked really embarrassed as he was looking everywhere but at Izuku. So Izuku had a look around as saw he was on a cloud. Izuku thought this was very weird as he had never seen anything like this before. I am sorry, but who are you and how do you know my name? Izuku was baffled as he had no idea what this man was talking about. Was it his quirk or? I am God, the stranger answered with no look of deceit in his eyes. Okay, so you are really God? Asked Izuku. Yes, Izuku, I am really God, answered God. And I am dead? Asked Izuku to God. Yes, Izuku, you are really dead and I appreciate how calm you are about it. Izuku asked simply just to classify this information. He then started to drink his tea as he processed the information he was given. Then Izuku spat out his tea as the sudden realization hit him. Izuku started coughing and hitting the table, knocking over God's tea and spilling it over the floor. With a wave of his hand, God removed the tea and it reappeared in front of him unspoiled. So you are really the real God of all religions? Yes, I am the God of all religions as they are all just different interpretations of me. So you can call me whatever, the man, God explained. He looked really pleased with himself as he explains this. It reminded me of Bakugo a bit on how pleased he looked with being the creator of everything. Izuku was very confused as the man spoke, so what, you accidentally zapped me with lightning? As Izuku asked this, God slowly nodded. After hearing this, Izuku started to freak out. What, I am dead, but I am so young I can't be dead, and oh no, my mum, she will be all alone and you made me quirkless. As Izuku was freaking out, God had an idea. Tell you what, I will send you back home with a gift as an apology. As I am getting too old even as a god, so I will give you my power of being able to create and destroy anything at the cost of nothing, as I know you will be a good host. Think of it as a quirk for you to use as a hero, since I know when you were younger you wanted to be a hero like others to help people. So I will give you my immortality and powers. God happily said to Izuku. Now is the time of a rise to a new hero. One who would be able to help everyone. Once he learned how to. Izuku Midoriya started to awaken. As he opened his eyes, all he saw was faint outlines of shapes and a bright light. He had no idea where he was at the moment. Izuku's eyes start to flutter open and closed as he tries to get some clarity into what he sees. He then started to hear sounds and the shapes looked like they moved to get a better look at him. As time went by he was able to tell one of the shapes was his mother. This surprised him and he wonders how long he was out for. Izuku, Izuki my baby. Doctor is waking up. The screams of joy from Izuku's mother Inko Midoriya was heard throughout the entire emergency wing of the hospital and some of the doctors and nurses were very happy to see Izuku start to awaken as well. Mum, where am I? What happened? As Izuku fully opened his eyes the people in the room all noticed something different about the boy. When before the incident he had green emerald eyes that shone with curiosity. Now he had two different eyes. One was a white that seemed to be filled with knowledge that nobody in the world had any idea about. While the other was a dark black that looked like it could swallow the sun and still have room for more. What's everyone looking at? Izuku asks, feeling out of ease at all the questioning gazed at him. Izuku, your eyes there. They seem to be different than before. Inko Midoriya says with a worried look on her face that only a mother who has been with her child for some time can have. At this Izuku starts to look around. He sees everything like he used to. Red was red and all that, so he had no idea what his mother was talking about. He then looks at the people. They all had a look of curiosity in them, but some had a hint of what looks like fear of the unknown of Izuku's new eyes. Mum, what do you mean my eyes are different? In response to this, one of the doctors grab a mirror and show Izuku. What he sees shocks him, how his eyes are different not just from the old ones but from each other as well. As you can see Izuku, your eyes are different. I believe it's due to you awakening your quirk by surviving a traumatic experience. One of the doctors, who looks curious rather than scared, responds to Izuku's question. I thought my baby boy could not have a quirk. The doctor we went to is a quirk specialist, said he could not gain one. States Inko Midoriya to the doctor in question, as she was very confident with the mixed information she was being given. Now that Izuku could see, probably he made out the white walls and roof. He also saw a wind, and outside he could see trees and birds singing in said trees. There was also a single bright light in the middle of the room. Also next to Izuku's bed was an IV set dripping into his arm. The realization of what the doctor said then starts to settle in Izuku's mind. So I have a quirk now. Okay, that's cool. Wait, I have a quirk now. Izuku thinks and mumbles as he contemplates what he heard. Yes Izuku, I believe you may have manifested a quirk because you survived a traumatic experience. This could explain the changes in Izuku's eyes. Now we just have to see what the new quirk is, but I need to do a check of you to see if you have recovered from the lightning strike in the past 3 weeks. As the doctor was saying this, some of the nurses and other medical staff got ready to have a look at Izuku's body to see if he has healed. Okay, so I was out for 3 weeks, that's a lot of school work I need to catch up on. As Izuku was thinking about all his schoolwork he needs to catch up on from school, a piece of paper seemed to appear above Izuku's bed and it flowed down to Izuku's bed. More paper seemed to appear out of nowhere. Izuku decided to grab one of the papers that were appearing as a look at it. Wait, this is maths work that was due the day after when I got struck by lightning. And it's all finished the way I would answer it. This confused Izuku as he had left that in his back. Then he remembered the talk he had with God, with what he said and how he explained the gift he was going to receive from him. I think this is a part of my new quirk. Izuku says to the shocked adults in the room. Today was the day where Izuku Midoriya would be going back to his normal routine of school. He remembered the time he was being healed. After 2.5 weeks of rest and recuperation after waking up, Izuku felt great. While the first week at the hospital the staff had got him to try and test his new quirk. Izuku was very happy to do this, but he found it was very hard to try and control it. One of the tests resulted in Izuku making some balls appear. Simple, Izuku thought. Simple it was not, as that during the test he flooded 2 rooms full of bouncy balls which distributed the work of the hospital. Most of the staff saw this as mildly irritating but also very humorous, as one of the doctors had to swim thought them to get some reports. This was caught on camera and posted on YouTube. Within a day it already got thousands of views. Izuku, do you think you can try and remove the balls you created? Asked the head doctor. Izuku learned that his name was Dr. Mavira and he had a quirk that let him heal injuries by placing a healing plant to grow on the injury. If you can, that it would be greatly appreciated. So Izuku tried to remove the balls by imagining them disappear, and some vanished but not all of them did. This confused Izuku as well as the medical staff. Also, Izuku felt very tired after the test, so they called an end to the test that day and called in some cleaners to remove the balls and gave them to some of the younger patients in the hospital. Izuku chuckled at the memory of that test and the corresponding outcome. He also remembered this morning on how his mother reacted when Izuku got ready for school and what she had said. Izuku dearie, are you absolutely sure you want to go back to school today? It's okay if you want to wait some more time, as that you can always just get your work by making it. Izuku knew his mother would be worried. It's okay mom, I can handle it. Izuku answered truly and own heartily. This did little to lift the worry Inko still felt, but if her son said he was all good, then that was that. Izuku was now just outside the gates to his middle school, Aldera Junior High. He was a little bit worried what some people would think about him and his new quirk, but otherwise he was great. As he walks at his class, he sees Katsuki Bakugo and his normal group of friends. This didn't surprise him at all, as they always flocked around Kachan. What did surprise him, however, was how they all looked at him. Most were shocked as Izuku walked into the room with his different colored eyes. What are you doing, Deku? You wear contact lenses or something now? Mockingly asks Bakugo. Why is he always so mean? Thinks Izuku as he imagines several answers to his conundrum. Then his white creation eye starts to slightly glow. Wait, what am I seeing? Izuku sees the street where he was struck by the lightning. He sees a boy with ash blonde hair walking down the street. He also sees himself on the floor, charred and unconscious. What are you doing, stupid Deku? Bakugo asks in the vision harshly. He then sees that Izuku is not breathing and starts to panic. What the hell happened to you? Bakugo then realizes what happened when he sees a flash of lightning and a bang of thunder. He gets his phone out and calls the emergency department. Hello, emergency department, how may I assist you? Asked the lady on the other side boredly. Hello, my friend has been stupidly struck by lightning when walking home from school. Answers Bakugo in a sacred manner. Please come quick, I don't want to see him die. Izuku could see Bakugo was crying and looked like the thing he liked most in the world was gone. With that, Izuku's glow in his eyes faded. What was that? Wait, was that the day? Izuku was not able to finish his thought as the teacher walked into the room and got everybody to get ready for the day of school. As Izuku made his way to his desk, he said to Bakugo, "Thanks Kachan, I knew you were not that bad of a friend to me." At this, Bakugo is confused until realization hits him. Don't you dare tell anyone about that or else. And with that, Bakugo grabs Izuku and throws him to his desk with a small explosion. What a great way to go back to school. Go a few weeks along and Izuku's life is back to normal. Well, normal as new. Bakugo is nicer to him, if that's the way to put it. He is still harsh, but now he doesn't actively hunt for him. Also, people are being nice to him and not snickering when he walks by. Well, not always, but some people are now at least not being as harsh with what they say. He even heard a girl say he was cute. This could be due to the word of Izuku having a quirk being passed around like the hottest news about a new hero. Still, there were some events where he accidentally used his quirk. This happened just today when in art class, when he had an image of what to paint. As he was painting an old-fashioned medieval knight in shining armor with a green hue to his armor which shined in the sun with his black sword. This was going well until, "My lord, I am here to serve thee," yells a man wear what looked like what Izuku had just painted. "Fear not, my lord, I shall do what you command." This freaked out the class, especially the teacher, as he was not aware of what Izuku was capable of. Izuku, who is this man? Questions the teacher as the class looks at the man in knight armor in shock and bewilderment. I have no idea, sir, but he looks like the knight I painted. Hey Deku, your eye is glowing again. Bakugo points out, helpfully. This brings sudden clarity to the issue as Izuku realizes he created the knight. Before he was only able to make items like bouncy balls, and in one maths period when Izuku was in a mumble fit, a calculator for him to use. My ledge, where are we walking to? The Green Knight asks. I need to give him a name. Izuku thinks as he feels bad about not having a name. We are walking back to my house because school has finished. Also, I need to give you a name. Izuku states to the knight. You may call me whatever you wish, my lord. Just please nothing unknightly and embarrassing. Says the knight. Okay, what about Kishi? As in knight in Japanese. Kishi, I like it, my lord. From now on my name shall. Wait, what's that noise? As Kishi says this, they both quiet down and listen. Izuku can hear what sounds like metal moving around. As they both turn around, they see what looks like a manhole cover go flying, which shocked both Izuku and the newly named Kishi. As they looked at the new hole in the ground, they noticed some form of semi-liquid come oozing out of the new hole in the ground. Ah, look, a nice invisibility cloak for me to hit in with his little green-haired friend. How nice. And with that interesting introduction, the slime slithered towards Kishi. But as the slime approached him, Kishi lifted his now glowing blade and took a swing at the slime. Ah, your sword can't. Ha, why does it hurt so much? Looking down, the slime saw how the sword looked to be disintegrating the slime it touched. My cursed blade Durandal can slice through all things in this world. You shall not harm my lord, yells Kishi as he drives the slime back away from Izuku. Seeing how successful Kishi was in fighting the slime villain, Izuku started to relax and thought of a new idea. If I can make Kishi so powerful, imagine if I made more people to help me in my quest to become a hero. Izuku thought and mumbled quietly so no one heard. While thinking, however, he failed to notice the movement behind the fight behind Kishi and the villain. I am here, yells a man with bright blonde spiked hair who is very muscular and tall with a blue and red hero suit on. All might. Izuku freaks at seeing his childhood hero suddenly appear in front of him. Kishi it's, as Izuku looks to tell him who has arrived, Izuku sees that Kishi is nowhere to be seen. Where did Kishi go? Wait, did I? Hello my lord, can you hear me? I am in your pocket dimension you appear to have created when being spooked by that man. Fear not, if you ever need me I shall be here. Answers Kishi with an excited sound of his voice. And with that the voice of Kishi disappears and is replaced with All Might yelling with vigor, don't worry young man, I shall deal with this villain. Texas smash. And that was the end of the slime villain. Izuku stared at the behemoth of a man in front of him. How has influenced his life so dramatically? OMG, it's All Might. I can't believe it. Wait, should I ask for an autograph or should I? Before Izuku could finish his train of thought. Hell young man, thank you for slowing down this villain and allowing me to catch up. Sorry I took so long, this city's sewer system is hard to navigate. I am sorry, but I must contain this villain and be on my way. And with that Izuku was starstruck with the way All Might was always working so valiantly and tirelessly. He had seen it on the news, the way he tried to spend as little amount of time with the press as of late. He wondered why. What's that my lord? You wish to know the secrets of this man in front of you? Your wish is my command. And with that Izuku's white eye glowed. All for one, today is the day I bring you to justice. Announces All Might to the mysterious man facing him. Come now, let's bring this to an end. Yes All Might, let's. And with that both charged at each other, a flurry of blows being traded between one another and still fighting. The man Izuku believed to be All for One took a massive leap away from All Might to suddenly start hitting him with lasers. While also vanishing and reappearing around All Might. He was having trouble trying to keep up with him. For some reason then the man seems to slow down. What are you doing all for one? Finish me already, screams All Might in agony to his rival. You want it to end so badly, so be it. One more blow each to decide our fates. And with that the vision came to an end and the glow in Izuku's eye vanished. What was that? Izuku wonders in pure awe at seeing the fight that befell his hero. Izuku is confused about the vision he just saw. What's wrong, young man? What did you just see? At these questions Izuku decides the best way forward is All Might, who is one for all. The million-dollar question. The look on All Might's face was that of pure shock. In an instant he was in Izuku's face with his fist drawn back. Ready for a fight. How do you know that name, young man? I saw it in a vision just then. You both nearly killed each other. The look of Izuku's face was of a scared child who didn't know he did something wrong. All Might saw this and retracted his arm. We need to talk, young man. On top of a roof All Might explains the history of All for One and the birth of One for All. He shows Izuku his injury and says about the final battle. Izuku takes all this information in and remembers it. I won't be able to sleep tonight. Izuku thinks with a worried but interested face as All Might shows him his true form. Well, I will be seeing you later, Izuku Midoriya. It was nice talking to you. And with that the deflated version of All Might whose name he learned to be Toshinori Yagi. Man, what a stressful day. Hopefully nothing bah. Before he can even finish his sentence he hears a loud explosion from a little away. Wait, if that's where I think it is then. As the realization hits Izuku he starts to sprint with all his might to its source. As he approaches he hears screams in a very familiar voice, "Get of me, you!" And as sudden as the voice starts it stops. "Kachan, no!" yells Izuku with fear and dread in his voice at the sight he sees. A building has been blown apart with rubble strewn across the street. People are pinned by it, but from a quick glance around Izuku can see that no one appears to be dead. Well, that's good at least. Izuku thinks to himself. He sees Bakugo in the ruined building surrounded by slime. Wait, that's the same villain that All Might captured. Did he escape somehow, and if so, where is he? With a frantic look around Izuku sees no All Might true form or otherwise. Someone get this jackass off me. Izuku hears Bakugo's scared plea for assistance, which he will most likely deny later down the line. I have to save Kachan. But how? Do you wish to save your friend, young master? This voice is different. It's not Kishi and not his own. Yes, I wish to save Kachan. With the yell in his head Izuku is surrounded by a pitch-black darkness which seems to swallow even light. His black eye seems to radiate the same glow. This frightens some witnesses as they think another villain has appeared. All of a sudden it seems to reach out to the slime villain. Wait, it's you again. You stupid, wait, what's going on? Ah! Then the moment his screams leave his mouth he disappears along with his screams of fear. Even the echoes that should have rung around the street are nowhere to be heard. The blackness around Izuku fades and he falls from where he was hovering unconscious. Izuku woke up in a bright room. It had a window overlooking some trees and a single light globe in the center of the room. All the walls were white and, wait, this was the hospital room Izuku woke up in from when he was struck by lightning. Does that mean it was all just a weird dream and none of it had actually happened? If so, that means he didn't have a quirk and he had dreamed it all. Oh no, my lord, it was far from a dream. Wait, that voice, it was Kishi speaking to Izuku. So it was not a dream, so how did he get here then? The last thing he remembered was seeing Bakugo in trouble with the slime villain that had escaped from All Might. Indeed, the so-called night is correct, it was no dream, Izuku. That voice, he remembered that beautiful feminine voice, but he can't remember where exactly. Ah, young Midoriya, you're finally awake. Welcome back to the hospital, and might I say, I was hoping not to see you so soon from your last visit in a similar condition. States Dr. Mavira as he walks into the room. It was strange seeing the doctor so soon and Izuku felt quite bad about it. I am sorry, doctor, I didn't meant to do it. Whatever it is I did. Izuku states in a sad manner, which Dr. Mavira easily notices from most patients who come in regularly due to their own reasons. There is no need to apologize, my boy. You were only out for a few hours and as you can see it's night now. And just as the doctor had stated, the moon was full and as clear to see as the sun in the day. Okay, so when can I leave and go home? Asks Izuku in a scared manner, as he was worried he might have to stay for some time. This frightened Izuku as he had hoped to start training for the UA entry exam. You may leave tomorrow night, Izuku, once we do some tests to see why you passed out. We believe it to have been quirk exhaustion as you used a lot of power to stop the villain, as say a lot of the witnesses around. Luckily the police desire to keep this insistent of your power quiet as to not attract villains to you. Explains Dr. Mavira to Izuku calmly. He is talking about people like All for One and he doesn't even know of his existence, the way the world works. Thinks Izuku to himself without muttering, which he also finds humorous in a completely different way. That's okay, Dr. Mavira, I hope my mum is okay though. Says Izuku as he relishes how worried his mother must be. He remembered hearing how that before he woke up the last time some of the medical team were thinking he would not wake up and were getting ready to pull the plug from him. This freaked his mother out and she went full Muma bear. When Izuku heard about it he thought it was one of the funniest things ever and in doing so embarrassed his mother. Worried about me, I see. And in comes the devil herself, Inko Midoriya, from out of nowhere. For how old Miss Midoriya acts you would believe her not to be able to be a ninja. Thinks Dr. Mavira, as he imagines some things that should not be done by a professional doctor working on a woman's only child. Sinner. Yells that voice Izuku still needs to get used to. What are you yelling at, and also who the hell are you? Quietly asks Izuku to the unknown entity. Me, I am known by many names but one of them is Sin. A very simple name and to the point. Plainly states the newly named Sin. The calm way she says it freaks Izuku out as she sounds really bored. I am your power to see who must be punished and how. Think of me as like a reasoning system. Again the way she speaks is unnerving to Izuku, as she just seems really tired and bored. Young Midoriya, you awake in there? Asks the doctor calmly as he tries to draw Izuku's attention to him by waving his hand in front of his eyes. Good to see you're with us again. So we are going to do some tests tomorrow morning after you rest tonight, so get some sleep, okay? See you tomorrow, Izuku, when I come pick you up, okay? Love you to mum. With that finale words and a hug, Inko Midoriya leaves for the night to go home and wait to pick her baby boy up from the hospital. A few hours pass. So why did you yell out sinner in the middle of the conversation with Dr. Mavira and my mother? Questions Izuku to Sin. That man was having impure thoughts about your mother. Again simple and plainly put by Sin to Izuku. So what, I can sense Sin and other stuff like that. And the doctor was thinking about my mum on a lustful manner. Asks Izuku to the voice in his head. I have voices in my head. Yes, you can sense Sin and other such things, and so you sense the impure thoughts of that sinner. You are God now, and with this, you are able to do as you please as punishment for the sinners. Also seeing one's true thoughts is your right. Says Sin in a self-righteous manner. Okay, so I did get all of God's powers? Asks Izuku in a scared manner as he has no idea what powers God had. Yes, you have all of them. Don't do anything stupid with them. Yet again, straight to the point as well as unnerving. Izuku Midoriya has just gotten out of hospital after his second incident involving the need of medical attention. True, the first was a major issue as he could have died from that, but that doesn't lower the need of medical aid of passing out. This is what was in the mind of the new god as he was walking home with his mother from being released from the hospital. The silence they shared was comforting as they both felt like there was nothing to be said. So of course, due to Izuku's horrible luck, Kishi would decide to pop out of the pocket dimension Izuku create by accident and scare the hell out of Inko Midoriya. Hello, mother of my lord, Oh, how sorry I am for not helping His Majesty in his hour of need. Yells Kishi at the top of his lungs to the scared woman on the road. Maybe I can be struck by lightning again but die this time instead of this suffering of humiliation. Thinks Izuku when Kishi appears from thin air. Who are you and what are you doing near me and my baby boy? Declares Mrs. Midoriya in a very scary mother bear way which has both men near here shaking even though the primal fury was only directed at one of them. Mum, this is Kishi. I accidentally made him while in art class yesterday. It was something that till now had slipped my mind, hee. Says Izuku in a horrified manner while stuttering slightly. Oh, why didn't you say so, Izuku? Hello Kishi, I am Inko Midoriya. Pleasure to meet your weight, you made him. This piece of information seemed to be too much for his mother as she suddenly fainted, but due to the quick action of Kishi, the mother of one didn't harm herself. After the little incident by the road, the trio made their way to the Midoriya residence and waited for Inko Midoriya to awaken. After a few hours the mother woke up to smell something cooking. As she made her way to the kitchen, she saw her son and, Kishi, she remembered his name to be. Hey Mum, I see you're awake. We can talk while having dinner. Hope you feel like katsudon, as it's the only thing I remember how to cook. As he was speaking, Izuku was finishing cooking the meal they would all share. As the three sat together at the dinner table, Izuku started to explain his quirk. Okay, so Mum, I don't know the extent to my power, but it seems that whatever I imagine and focus really hard, I am able to create things. Explains Izuku to his calm mother. Izuku, I thought you were only able to create objects like those balls in the hospital. Same as removing stuff, asks his mother in a calm but worried manner. There was also a hint of curiosity in her voice that Izuku was able to pick up on. This was not very surprising as he knew his mother questioned his new quirk. That's what I first thought too, Mum. Then yesterday I made Kishi and on my way home I had an incident. Explains Izuku to his mother. On my way home I was attacked by a slime villain. He was being beaten by Kishi but then out of nowhere All Might appeared and blew the villain away. Somehow, the villain escaped from him and had Kachan captured while slowly cutting his air supply off. I don't remember much of what happened after that till I woke up in the hospital, but the witness report says how the villain suddenly vanished as these black tendrils touched him. By the end Izuku is more mumbling what he's saying, but after years of it Inko Midoriya understands what her son is saying. It's okay Izuku, but in the future you must be more careful to control your power and not let it control you. His mother wisely states to Izuku. Yes Mum, I will learn to control my powers. These few words are what has Izuku at Dagoba Beach. It used to be such an amazing sight during sunrises, but due to natural currents bringing trash from the ocean onto the beach. This lead to people using it as an illegal dumping site for the free deniability to it. Izuku was going to use it as a place to freely train his body and quirk so he would be ready for the entrance exam to get into UA in 10 months. He had looked up the best way for someone his age and stature to train to gain muscle and bulk. This had led to loads of sites saying about diets and an extensive amount of exercises to do. When looking for a place to train his body though, all the gyms were too expensive so that cut them out. Also he wanted to train his quirk so it was quite a challenge. Until he looked up some interesting hero facts. These said about how some heroes get their popularity from doing charity as well as hero work. This led to Izuku learning about Dagoba Beach and the need it was in. So my lord, you don't want me to assist at all unless you state otherwise? Asks Kishi to his lord and creator. Yes Kishi, I won't get any stronger if you do all the heavy lifting. However, if I look in distress then you may assist me. Says Izuku to his creation and friend. During the next few months Izuku trained every day with only Sundays as a rest day. His schedule was mostly training his body Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. While the other days besides Sunday he trains his quirk. This proved to be extremely effective at making Izuku gain muscle mass at a high rate, while he also learned how to control his power more so he could create more things and destroy more. One day while training his quirk, he heard footsteps. Not an uncommon thing, as the locals were being shocked by the young man cleaning their beach. He noticing a frozen gaze at the back of his head and feels quite unnerved. When he looked up, however, he was met by a pair of heterochromatic colored eyes like his own. One of the person's eyes was blue while the other was a dark color. His eyes were not the only feature like this, however, as even his hair, with one side being red and the other white. "Why are you cleaning the beach?" the boy who looks about Izuku's age asks. It's a simple question, but the answer is not as simple. So Izuku says what comes to mind. To be a hero. During the 5 months up till the UA entrance exam, Izuku finished cleaning the beach and had numerous encounters with the boy who Izuku learned to be the son of the number 2 hero Endeavor, Shoto Todoroki. This news made Izuku go into his hero nerd mode and ask the boy lots of questions. Todoroki didn't like this and explained that he didn't like his father but didn't say why. So Izuku stopped talking and got back to work that day. Also, the investigation that was done from the incident with the slime villain says it was an accidental manslaughter with a misuse of quirk due to loss of control. Normally people would be sent to prison or some sort of repercussions, but due to Izuku's quirk and late blooming, the police have let it slip since it helped contain the situation and saved a life. Still, Izuku feels horrible about ending a life even if it was a villain. True, the police have issued a statement which says about the villain being missing and still at large, even though Izuku explained his power to them. As Todoroki visited more frequently, Izuku learned more about him. He has a sour past. One full of hate and fear. Says Sin. When Izuku asks what she meant, she only responded with, "You will see, young god." Still, Izuku kept in contact with Todoroki as he cleaned the beach and trained. True, the other boy was really quiet and didn't talk much, but he was good to hang out with. With the cleaning of the beach and all of Izuku's training came a lot of new things for Izuku. One was the increase of his muscle mass all over his body, and two was girls were looking at him strangely. He noticed this one day while his class was doing some sports. As he was doing his 200th push-up, he saw that he was the last one in their challenge, with Bakugo coming in at 180-ish. True, the explosion boy tried his best, but apparently that was not enough to beat the shitty Deku. Izuku still wasn't tired, so he kept going, which is when he noticed the girls looking at him. He felt their eyes on him and could sense their intentions with the way they looked. Young humans are always so lustful. Even before your species could do the impressive feats they do nowadays, the young always were, as they say, horny, says Sin in her bored tone of voice. Izuku pretends not to hear her and ignores the stares directed at him and continued his work. When Izuku finished the beach, he still had 2 more months till the entrance exam, and so he looked for more places like Dagoba Beach to clean. When on his search, he found a park which was also used as an illegal dumping site, as it's in the middle of a run-down area in Shizuoka Prefecture. So Izuku makes a decision to tell his mother his plan and make his way down to the park. As he goes to leave, he sees the worry in his mother's face. "Don't worry, Mum, remember I can handle myself and I have Kishi if I need to call him," Izuku explains to his scared mother, which seemed to calm her ever so slightly. "See you when I get home, Mum, love you." "Love you to Izuku, and make sure you don't hurt yourself," says Inko Midoriya to her son as he leaves their home. When Izuku reaches the park, it truly looks like a dump, even with all the nice trees and natural environment. As Izuku thinks of a way to clean the park, he feels some sort of sense that someone is watching him. He goes to ignore it, but then a girl with purple hair and eyes with what look like earphone jacks hanging from her ear approaches him. "Hey dude, what you doing?" she asks in a bored manner, but Izuku could sense she was actually curious. "A girl is talking to me." Izuku still was a shy and stuttering mess when talking to girls. "Oh hey, Does he tell her what he is doing and explain, or does he try to say he is lost or something? Okay, so this park here, How long has it been like this? So diverting my question by asking your own. Smart. So it has been like this for years as no one cleans it. True, there have been people that have tried but they all ran out of something, be it support or funding, so they all gave up. Now you answer my question, what are you doing? For some reason Izuku feels like he can trust her. Well, I just finished cleaning up Dagoba Beach and before he says anything else he is cut off by the girl. Wait, that was you? I heard that some guy had been cleaning the beach who had messy green broccoli hair. So what you doing here then? Now she seems shocked that Izuku is here. Well, I was planning to clean the park as a form of exercise and as a community service. The reason for me cleaning up both here and Dagoba Beach was as training before you ask and not because I am being paid. Izuku states to the mysterious girl. What are you training for them and what's your name? Simple question, knew that he has answered it before. My name is Izuku Midoriya, and the reason for me training is to become a hero that people can depend on in their time of need. Izuku confidently says to the girl, then resorts back to his shy nature. So what's your name? Asks the curious Izuku to the girl. Oh, my name is Kyoka Jiro and I also want to be a hero. This introduction intrigues Izuku, as so far the only other person that also wanted to be a hero besides Bakugo that talks to him was Todoroki. Oh, so you to be a hero too? That means you must be training really hard for the entrance exam for UA coming up in 2 months' time. Izuku excitedly yells to the girl, whose name he now knows to be Jiro. No, not really, even though there are so many people better than me. By the time she is finished, Izuku needs to strain his ears to hear her. It sounds like she doubts herself to him. No, kid, that's not doubt, it's envious sin. She thinks her quirk is not as good as others. Look at that boy Bakugo or the new one you made friends with, Todoroki. Both their quirks are strong and flashy, perfect for hero work. While all she has are those things from her ears. Sin with a surprising amount of help there explains to the young god. Well then, maybe I can help you. Damn, Midoriya, what are you made of? Asks Jiro in a shocked manner. That must weigh about 150 kgs. This shocked Izuku, not how much it weighed but he thought it was less. Are you sure this feels light as hell? Something he has picked up from Jiro is her colorful vocabulary. While Jiro is sadly picked up Izuku's waking up early trait. This annoys her to no end, saying even in her relaxing days she wakes up early as. Yeah, it probably weighs around there. I remember we got a new fridge and my dad had to call a friend down to help move the old one out and the new one in. Even then they both still struggled to move it. So, what, you think I have some sort of strength quirk? Remember I told you my quirk is called godhood. That's because it creates stuff out of nothing and can also create anything. While I can also destroy anything. Izuku remembers when he showed Kishi to Jiro. That day was funny and also very exciting. So Izuku, what did you want to show me? Asks Jiro with a look of confusion, as Izuku usually gets straight to training. Today, however, he asked her to come over to his cleaning area to show her something. You can't freak out when I show you this, okay? She hoped he didn't find something gross or place something to scare her. She knew he was a good guy, but still. Okay, I promise I won't freak. Okay, here I go. As Izuku says this, he starts to glow ever so slightly, then out of nowhere Kishi appears in front of Jiro. Hello, young La. Before he can finish speaking, Jiro is screaming and trying to stab him with her jax while she looks for a pipe she saw only the day before. While defending himself from Jiro's onslaught of attacks, he can't unsheath his blade. Durandal would harm Jiro if it touches her. Wow, Jiro, stop, this is Kishi. He is what I wanted to show you. Explains Izuku to the frantic Jiro, who is still looking for the pipe. Oh, and if you are looking for this, stop. Izuku says as he holds up the pipe and it disappears in his hands. After seeing this, Jiro starts to calm down ever so slightly. Then gets made again and hits Izuku in the head because he is laughing. It's not funny you ass. Izuku now can see what true fear is at angering a woman. I am sorry, I am sorry. This goes on for a while as Izuku bows at a 90-degree angle multiple times. It's okay Greenie, I can't stay mad at you. With that the day goes back to normality. So yeah Jiro, I can't have a strength quirk. Unless I can create powers. With this shocking realization Izuku has a go at punching a 5-inch thick steel plate. He winds up the punch with Jiro staring at him in shock. Then his fist makes contact and the steel bends to form a fist-shaped hole in it. Wow Izuku, that's... Jiro seemed lost for words. Izuku could also see another emotion there which looked to be the same as the first day they met, envy. Hey, it's okay. Your quirk is amazing on its own. All we need to do is train you to fight better at close quarters so it's like you have 4 attacks. Also you can locate people in trouble and... Before Izuku can finish his rambling to try and make Jiro feel better, he is met with a hug from the girl as she was smiling. Thanks Izuku, she seemed better now at least, as she had a smile on her face. Oh cool, Jiro seems better and wait, did she just use my first name? Today was the day of the entrance exam into UA's hero course. A day that had many months of hell of preparation for. Izuku and Kyoka were now on a first-name basis which at first freaked Izuku as he was not used to a girl calling him Izuku. Especially when said girl teases him over his habits and how easily he blushes. The following month after finishing cleaning the park, Izuku and Kyoka were both trained by Kishi on how to defend themselves. Better and better battle awareness. Kishi taught them this by suddenly yelling out and starting to fight them with his blade sheathed. One day Kyoka had enough of the training. Fuck okay Green Tin Can, we get it, can you stop with the attacks? Yelled the only female of the group to the as she had called him before Green Tin Can. No Kyoka, this is very important training as it sharpens the senses to danger and makes you react faster. So this training continued until the present day with slight tweaks to always surprise both the aspiring heroes. Now, both Izuku and Kyoka stood in front of the massive UA gate. So today's the day, Izuku mumbled to himself, but due to the super hearing of Kyoka she was able to hear. Yep, today's the day we show we can be her, answers Kyoka but is interrupted by a certain ash blonde boy. Move out of my way Jax, and Deku. A pause. Get out of my way. With those few encouraging words, Bakugo leaves for the test. Okay, now is the next step in me becoming a hero. Thinks Izuku to himself as he and Kyoka walk towards the building until suddenly he trips on his own 2 feet. Or I can just die. Before he hits the floor however, Izuku sees that it's not rushing towards him. Sorry I used my quirk on you. Hope you don't mind since tripping and bad luck. Izuku hears a female voice. The voice sounds full of energy and excited to be at the exam. Thanks for saving me, says Izuku to the new girl. When he looks at her she has shoulder brown hair with brown eyes. She also has a round face with what looks to be a permanent blush on her cheeks. No problem, as I said. It would be bad luck if you tripped and fell. So good luck. Then with saying that the girl left without saying her name. As Izuku and Kyoka both got into the auditorium where the rules will be explained, they were asked to look at the cards they got during the written part of the exam to see where they were seated. They had to separate and also Izuku had to sit next to Bakugo. On stage, Present Mike came on and started his presentation of the exam. Hey listeners, can I get a hey? He was met by silence. Except, Izuku was geeking out about the hero on stage. Oh my god, it's Present Mike. I listen to his talk show all the time. I can't believe he was going to keep needing until a very tall boy with blue hair and glasses raised his hand and stood up. The boy stood very straight with an exemplary posture. Sir, this sheet we were all handed out says that there are 4 fake villains. If this is a misprint, then UA is one of the major hero institutions that teach heroics is severely undermining of its reputation. This had Izuku looking at his sheet to see if the boy said was true. As it turned out he was, and he was not done speaking yet. "And you, the boy with messy green hair. Please stop the muttering, it is extremely disturbing and distracting, so please stop." This outburst had Izuku sinking back into his seat and a lot of people including Bakugo laughing and snickering at the poor boy. Then he saw the girl from the tripping incident stand up with a very aggravated look in her eyes. "Wraith, one of the other 7 sins of Christianity," explains Sin to Izuku. "It's seen as a bad thing in many religions, but some, like the Old Norse religion, smile on it, as it shows battle-hardened warriors are warriors who are ready to meet Valhalla. While again, others like Buddhism believe that due to the 5 moral precepts, that harming another person is frowned upon." All this new information was confusing Izuku, as so far Sin has only talked about Christian religion but now was talking about other things. "So I am attached to all religions?" asked Izuku to Sin in hopes she could shine some light on the subject. "Yes, Izuku. As you grow to control your power, you will be able to do as the old god of the sea from Greek mythology, Poseidon, and control the sea and many other religions with their gods. Now, however, you must focus." After hearing Sin finish talking, he saw the brown-haired girl stare daggers at the rigged boy. "Why are you being so rude?" she shouted at the boy. This caught Mike's attention, so he decided to regain some of the control he lost. Wow, young listeners. Yes, there are 4 villains, but the last one is worth 0 points and goes repeat in tight spaces. It's more of an obstacle in the way, so I just suggest running from it. So now that all done, can I get a plus ultra? Again he was met by silence from the crowd. On the bus, Izuku is think of a strategy to beat the exam. So far he can think of many, with the exception of just deleting the city and the robots in it. The one he believes to be the best is make himself some armor and a sword. Then bring Kishi out to assist him. "Oh, this is going to be fun," says Kishi to his lord and creator. "Yes, Kishi, let's have fun," responses Izuku to his knight. As the examines get off the bus and see the sight of the giant gate. Most are awe-struck at the sheer dive of it. Some are ignoring it and doing stretches to ready themselves. No one besides Izuku are making weapons and armor appear around them out of thin air. His armor is only a simple green chest plate with some gauntlets and leg armor. This is because when Izuku first went to make his armor, Kishi said to him to make it light and not encumbering so he can still move. This doesn't shock anyone, but then Kishi appears out of nowhere and most people take a step away from him as they stare at the very tall suit of armor. Kishi's armor, unlike Izuku's, is a full suit with a helmet which has pointed parts at the cheeks. As a fluffy green feather grow the top. "My lord, you summoned me. Shall I use my blade Durandal to its fullest potential?" asks Kishi, as he is not sure how Izuku wished to handle this. "Yes, Kishi, you may go all out against the robots," answers Izuku to his knight in green. "Start," calls out Present Mike to the crowd as the gate suddenly opens. Izuku and Kishi are already in the city while the other examines are still standing there, with some thinking Izuku is an idiot from running in early. "Well, what are you all waiting for? He got the message." This stirs the crowd as most were expecting a countdown. As the others filter in, they see destroyed robots laying across the ground. Deciding to all go their separate ways, they all split up in search of points. With Izuku and Kishi, they are tearing through the boys with ease. A 3-pointer aims at Kishi and fires. Izuku and Kishi both see the rockets fire, but before they hit him, Kishi swings his sword at them and they disappear before their eyes. Then Izuku leaps forward at a very surprising speed and cuts the 3-pointer in half. "I counted 50 points, Kishi. Am I correct or what?" asks Izuku to the still weary knight. "No, my lord, you have added the points up accurately even in the heat of battle," answers Kishi in an impressed manner. As the exam goes on, Izuku sees many different examines and their quirks at work. He sees a blonde boy with a black lightning bolt in his hair and sees how he discharged electricity and destroyed many bots. Then afterwards the boy is making a weird face while holding out 2 thumbs up. As Izuku gets closer to see if he is okay, the boy is making a noise that makes Izuku laugh. Vwee. Ha ha ha, okay, you all right there? Izuku asks the boy but doesn't get a response. A one-pointer then turns the corner and heads straight for the blonde. Before it can reach him, however, Izuku has already drawn his blade and removed its head in 1 slice. Vwee, says the boy again. Seeing that he is in no condition to continue, Izuku calls Kishi to his location. Kishi, can you take this guy to the front of the city and keep an eye on him? Asks Izuku to his knight. Yes, my lord, I shall protect this young warrior as you asked, says Kishi to Izuku, and then he picks up the boy bridal style, then he is off. Izuku now alone decides he leads a clear view of the city, so he climbs a building by using some special gloves that work by magnetic attraction. Once at the top of the building, Izuku has a look around the city. He sees another person on a building with what look like tentacles growing out of his arms. Each tentacle has something growing out of them, but Izuku can't see what. He decides to wave at the boy, and even though he is facing the other way, he turns around and waves at Izuku. 2 minutes remaining of the 10. Calls out, present mic to the examinees. In a dark control, many figures look at screens showing the participants in the exam. It's time for some fun. One of the figures says as he pushes a button. Muhahaha. Izuku and all the other examines feel the ground shake. Izuku then sees what is causing the tremors, a giant robot with 2 arms and on tracks like a tank. Seeing the 0-pointer, Izuku starts to move away to get more points till he hears it. Ow! Someone please help me. It sounds like someone he knows, but even then Izuku jumps from the building. As he falls, he is caught by a green flash. Don't be so rash, young lord, says Kishi once it becomes clear it's him. I would have been okay, Kishi. Remember how I made my armor? Retorts Izuku to his knight. Yes, Kishi remembers that day. Izuku decided to test his armor by throwing himself of a large tree in the park the trio were training in. Seeing this, Kyoka and Kishi both rushes to see if Izuku was injured, but as they got closer, all they heard was joyful laughter. Izuku and Kishi then start to head towards the sound of the girl. As they draw nearer, they see many other examines running away, including the blues-haired boy with glasses. Then they see the girl with brown hair trapped under a pile of rubble. Izuku sees the 0-pointer start to draw its fist back to punch the downed girl. Kishi, you hold the robot back. I got this. As Izuku says this, he rushes forward with his blade in its scabbard while Kishi rushes to stop the fist. As they both get closer, one draws his blade while the other throws his away. Kishi slashes the fist to stop it from hitting the girl. Then Izuku jumps up to be at level with the head of the robot, and with a wave of his hand, blackness which seems to devour the very light around him sepsis from his right arm as his black eye absorbs the light like the black ooze from his arm. Many people look to see the boy surrounded by the black ink-like substance. Then it shots out at the 0-pointer and completely envelops it in a matter of moments. Then it dissipates, and the pure which that all who are watching feel as they see there is no 0-pointer anymore.